for time.
What's up, everybody? So I'm back, and I've been getting fan requests for UFC breakdowns of old fights and um, stuff like that because we're kind of in a little dead zone. Golasso just fought Brunson or Vincent. I'm not sure in boxing. Golasso won. But it's kind of just kind of like a dead zone here right now. So I wanted to go through the fan requests that I had, but I wanted to add my own. One of my own fan requests for fights or fighters, and one of my favorite fighters. With a lot of people are not gonna recognize, and he's not a Mount Rushmore. He's not a all time greats, but when people ask me who my top 5 or top 10 fighters are, they're always kind of surprised when I throw these names out. And one of those names is Mi Vida Loca, Johnny Tapia. Johnny Tapia was a Mexican American fighter from Albuquerque. Shout out Burke. Um, 501, I believe. It might be 501. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Or 505. Burke. But Johnny Tapia left an impression on me that is still on my body that I'll never forget. Johnny Tapia came up from nothing, and he fought his entire life all the way to the top. He fought his demons, and he had plenty of them. You know, for people that don't know who Johnny Tapia was, Johnny Tapia didn't even know his father until he was late in his 50s before he passed away. His mother was murdered as a young boy. He was always in and out of custody between his uncles, his grandparents, and his only solace was boxing. And man, Johnny Tapia, all the demons he fought outside of the ring, all the all the bullshit he dealt with in and out of homes, not really knowing what's going on, missing his mother, not knowing his father. But you put that guy in a ring, and he was absolute magic. Absolute magic in the ring. You know, I believe he had Freddie Roach as a trainer for a while. I could be wrong, but I think maybe after that it might have been Tim Goosen or Joe Goosen. I'm not sure. I'd have to look back at it, but I'm just shooting up the dome right now. Um, Johnny Tapia was an amazing talent inside the ring. He was magic to watch. And if you ever saw him fight, and I know a lot of the guys that are watching this channel are newcomers to boxing or newcomers to mixed martial arts that haven't been following around or haven't been around as long as I have. You know, I'm 42. I'm not an old man, but I'm not young either. Um, Dude, all I did was watch fights growing up. My whole family watched fights growing up. We still all watch fights growing up. You know, my family, we get together, we watch fights. My sisters, my nieces, my nephews, every time we get together, everybody knows, oh, there must be a big fight going on because we get together every single big fight. Me and my brother, my dad, even my mom, she knows when a big fight's coming up because we all get together, and that's what we do. But Johnny Tapia is one of those special talents where when you saw him fight, you could see yourself in him. He was a man that battled, you know, losing his parents, cocaine addiction. But man, when you put that guy in a ring, you put gloves on that guy and put him in a ring, he was absolute spectacular to watch. I mean, just a magician in the ring. I mean, he was so good. The way he boxed beautifully, the way that he'd get in there when it got ugly, he was an amazing fighter, and he's always been on one of my top 10 of all time favorite fighters to watch. Um, seeing him with the tattoos and everything about him made me love him even more. His nickname was Mi Vida Loca. He had it tattooed across the upper part of his stomach. He was such a big influence on me that I got Mi Vida Loca tattooed, but under my belly button. Um, the fights with Danny Romero, both guys were from Albuquerque. They fought at the Thomas and Mack Center, and it was an all Albuquerque crowd, and you could tell who the fan favorite was. Johnny Tapia wins that fight, wins the title. Um, just an amazing guy to watch, man. He was just nothing but blood and guts, the epitome of blood and guts. And afterwards, he had 2 or 3 more fights after the Danny Romero fight. He gets the fight with Marco Antonio Barrera. He loses the fight. He wins 3 more in between, and then he fights Fort Worth's Pride and Joy, Paulie Ayala. So when I first started boxing, probably back in the late 90s, early 90s, I started at a little gym called Gorman's Gym off of I-35 in Berry Street. For those of y'all that are not from DFW area, you wouldn't know it, but for those of y'all who are, I-35 Berry Street, right after the Gran Plaza, what is now called the Gran Plaza. Back then it was called Town Center. Um, and there was a fighter in that gym who trained at Gorman's Gym whose name was Paulie Ayala. And my dad, my uncles, everybody loved Paulie. I love Paulie too. He was a good dude, family man, great fighter. But when he fought Johnny Tapia, I was so torn because I had known Paulie, but I loved Johnny Tapia. I loved how that he was like a bad boy. I loved that he was like a regular guy that was just trying to fight his demons just to get to the next day. And both those fights, because they had rematched twice, both those fights were amazing fights. Um, I wanted Johnny to win so bad, and Paulie did just enough to win both those fights by decision. Um, it broke my heart when Johnny lost, but I'll forever have him tattooed on my body with Mi Vida Loca. Um, he's always going to be in one of my top 10 favorite fighters to watch. If you haven't seen Johnny Tapia fight, go back, watch his fights. He'll make a believer out of you. Johnny Tapia is one of the best to ever do it. Multiple time world champion. I believe he was light feather, bantamweight, and featherweight champion. I could be wrong, but Johnny Tapia, Mi Vida Loca, shout out Porque, man, a legacy never dies. And he was one of the best to ever do it. So, shout out Johnny Tapia. Rest in peace. See you guys on the next one. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Peace.